All right. Hey, guys. Thanks for joining us. My name is Tim Richardson. Appreciate you taking time today to learn about buying an RV. Man, we've got a lot to learn. Brought in an expert. Going to introduce you to Mycah here again in just a second. Thanks for joining us, Mycah. And while you guys are getting logged in, find the chat area. It's the and put in like Jacqueline just did. Hello from Houston. Give some shout outs. Thanks for joining us, Jacqueline. David in Massachusetts. Very cool. Glad you're here. So this is where you're going to ask your questions today, and we're going to try to stump Mycah. So be ready, Mycah. Right. They get some good ones sometimes, so we're going to have fun. And we're going to record the whole thing, so don't worry if you miss some parts or you want to have a significant other go back through it with you later. No worries. About 2 hours after this, we'll send you a recording link in your email. So be watching for that. That'll be able to save you some writing. And man, some more hellos to Kevin. He's getting ready to buy an RV, so good timing. Glad you get to hear some of these details. Hopefully we can save you some extra dollars. Hugo in Modesto, California. Must be nice out there. We're still waiting for it to get warm here. It's getting there. We're in Ohio. I'm actually up in Cleveland. Mycah's down in Lakeview, Ohio at RV Wholesalers. Thanks for being a part of that. Patricia is in Florida. Peter, hey. And nice to have you guys all. We even have someone from Fort Wayne, Indiana, Paula. That's nice and close to RV capital of the world. And Char's from Southern California. Awesome. All over the place. It's going to be great. This stuff will apply to all of you. In fact, most of the people you deal with, Mycah, probably all over the country, right?
Yeah. Yep. A lot of people from California, a lot of people down south.
Yeah. What's the craziest place you've sold an RV to?
Somewhere in the hills of West Virginia where the guy didn't really have any service, if I'd guess.
Oh, okay. So it's hard to yeah. Nice. So let's jump right in. 5 big buying mistakes you can avoid as you're starting. Oh man, I forgot about this picture. So this is my first RV trip. And this is the RV that my dad actually built this thing, this camper topper or truck topper. And and when I was about 3 years old, we went on this little outing, a little vacation to Boot Lake up in British Columbia, Canada. And you'll see this tree right below Mycah. That thing fell across the road. Thankfully, right before we got to it. But it was so big, we had to wait for the Forestry Service to come pick it up. So my brothers built this little lean-to. We were sleeping out there in the middle of the night. I remember waking up, my mom was like being scared. I was like, I want to sleep in the RV. I want to sleep in the RV. I don't know what I called it back then, but
whatever it was.
Yeah. And so we stayed in the RV. The next morning, my brothers are walking around the campsite and they found like these huge black bear prints. To me, they were probably like that big, but but I was like, man, I'm glad we slept inside last night. And so I like to say like RVs saved my life, so I have a special place here for in my heart for RVing. So I'm proud of you guys, though, taking time to learn this stuff. And the first thing is I see a lot of people just not asking for the out the door price. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of crazy, right? You do all this research, you figure out exactly what you want, and then you're shopping, say, 2 dealerships, and one dealership sounds like they have a better deal, but the way that they may be doing it is making up some of the extra price on the back end. And so do you mind talking about that a little bit, Mycah? Why is that important to ask for the out-the-door price?
Yeah, so when you ask for a price from us, we'll give you the price straight up. That's what you're going to pay. A lot of these places, what they'll do is they'll show you the price of the unit, and then when you go to sign your final paperwork, it might be $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 more than what you originally thought it was going to cost.
In just a second, we're going to get into a bunch of those different hidden fees, so you guys really know what to look for. But that's the thing, like he was saying, what is it, like a sales agreement that you have make sure that before you put that deposit down, that sales agreement is comprehensive. So you're gonna, I would even ask, like, honestly, I would just say, you know what, let's put this in writing. If this changes by $1 when I come to sign my final paperwork, then I get my deposit back. Just give yourself an out if you can.
Yeah, it should have all the fees. If you want your taxes in there, it should have your taxes in there and everything. So there should be no change to that price.
Yeah, and because this is where it's happening. A lot of times at the end, there's a lot of pressure because a lot of times you're ordering a custom RV or whatever it is. You're waiting for it to be built and it's coming. And your kids are excited. You've waited several months or whatever it is to get this RV. You come to pick it up. They do a walkthrough. The kids have already picked out their bunks. Then you go sit down with the paperwork. And so it's after you've already fallen in love. It's there. It's ready to go. You're in love with it. And boom, like, hello, what's this fee for this? What's this? I didn't realize we had to pay for that. And, and then what are you going to do at that point? You're either going to walk away and hope and likely forfeit your deposit because that's how it's written up. Right. Or you're going to say, I guess we'll just pay it. And they kind of make you feel guilty. Like, well, of course you wanted us to inspect that, or of course you wanted us to do that. It's like,
yep.
Yeah. It's like, and honestly, when they say, well, that's fine, you can walk away. We've got 5 more people in line for this exact RV if you don't want it. And that's probably true because they probably do because the demand is so high right now. Now, a year ago, that probably wasn't true, but now. So that's why it's really important. Ask for that out the door price. And when you're comparing apples to apples, it's really important. So if you're just getting started and some of you guys are just like, man, where do I start? Like, I kind of go back to the very beginning and start with, well, you have RVs, which when we say RVs, we're not talking just motorhomes. We're talking travel trailers, fifth wheels, toy haulers, Class A, B, and C motorhomes, park models. Did I miss anything? A couple other ones. But you kind of figure out, like, what do you want it to do? Like, are you going to be hauling a four-wheeler or, so then you need a toy hauler to go with you, or just kind of figure that out and then figure out if you want motorized or not. So do you have a tow vehicle you can get or have already, and then you figure out if you do, then you figure out what's the towing capacity, which write this down, guys. Towingcalculator.org. That's a little website I just put together. Actually, it hasn't even been officially launched, but you can go there and figure out how much your towing capacity is for your vehicle. So towingcapacity.org. Then you figure that out, and then okay, I can be in this range. Then you have your budgets. You know what kind of price range you want to be in. And then you just start looking at floor plans, right? It's just kind of, do I want a kitchen in the front? Do I want it in the back? Do I need bunk beds for the kids? Do I, grandkids? Do I? And you just start breaking it down. Then the last big decision really is, do I want it to be fiberglass, like with aluminum stud walls, or do I want it to be like aluminum siding and wood stud walls? There's some advantages and disadvantages. You kind of figure that out, and then that's about it, right? Just making sure you love it.
Right.
And it's not as big a deal. It's kind of overwhelming because there's so many choices, but it's really not. It's not like you have to be in this one for life. You can try it out for a year or two, figure out what works for your family, and it's really. Right now, it's no big deal. You can probably, if you buy it at the right price, you can actually make money if you sold it next year. I don't know how many people, they're buying a new one every year because they're selling their old one for more than they paid for it. I was just at your place about a week ago. A lady was there from Washington. I actually got it on film or video, whatever. Film's been gone for a while, but she said, we just came all the way from Washington to pick up this RV because we saved so much, and we sold our last one, our Rockwood. It was 5 years old. We sold it for more than we paid for it 5 years ago, and she was happy as could be. And she beats the thing all over Alaska, and they really use the RVs, she said. And don't be afraid.
I see that Jacqueline put a question in here about ordering at one price and then when the unit comes in actually paying more. So to touch on that, we are the only dealer in the U.S. to actually price protect when a customer orders through us. Right now, every dealer, essentially, they are charging you for any price increase that occurs between the time that you place the order to the time that you receive your unit. So, for instance, Forest River, 6% price increase happens.
That's tomorrow, right?
That's
I
tomorrow morning.
Just saw a note about this.
Yep,
okay, that's legit.
Morning. So 6% price increase tomorrow morning for all Forest River products. So
and that's half the RVs in America. That's going to happen tomorrow. For every dealer is going to face that, right? I mean,
yep. So for instance, like on a Heritage Glen, you can buy it for $37,000 or $36,000 or whatever it is. Tomorrow morning, that price is going to go up, I think, $2,300 or something.
Wow.
Now, say at any other dealer across the U.S., you're going to pay that $2,300 price increase when you come to pick your unit up. So that's where we're different. We're going to price protect you. The price that you signed for on that deposit day is the same price you're going to pay when you pick your unit up.
Yeah, Mycah, thanks for bringing this up, and Jacqueline for asking this question, because that is another big thing. I need to have a slide in here just because what's happening is on that sales agreement, they're putting in fine print. It's like subject to manufacturing price increases, which is crazy. It's like and there's been one dealer manufacturer that did 4 price increases in 42 days. I think it was crazy.
Yeah.
So it ended up being about 16% over just a month and a half, 2 month window.
Yep.
So I would be very, oh man, I would cross out, tell them like, hey, I'm going to pay this price for this vehicle when it comes in, this RV. And if there's price increases, the factory can raise the price, but if that's your sales agreement, there should be no way you have to raise that price. I don't know. Yeah. I'm sorry, but
it's crazy to me too.
And the other thing I've seen that's been disappointing is I've seen dealerships where they will they'll have a sale. Say you buy it for $35,000 and you sign all the paperwork, whatever. They call you back and they say, hey, the factory gave us a price increase. It's $1,500. I tell you what, let's split the difference. You pay $750. We'll eat $750 as a dealership, and we'll call it good. Otherwise, we'll give back your deposit. So now you're in the boat. Okay, do you want to pay $750 extra? Well, of course, you're probably going to do it. But what they didn't tell you was it was a $750 price increase from the factory. They made it sound like it was a $1,500 one. So we've seen that happening. I know a number of people have called in. It's like, hey, can you guys check on this because this doesn't sound right? And then sure enough, it wasn't the real price increase. So it's like, how do you
They make it out like they're being the good guy by eating $750 of it when the reality is you're eating the whole thing. So
yeah. So that's disappointing. We're gonna dive into the hidden fees side of it. Mm-hmm. This will be helpful, I think. While we're getting there, Shar asked about recommendations for towing vehicles. And is there anything such thing as a certified pre-owned RV trailer? You can, Shar, on the pre-owned, there are independent inspection services. And if you email Mycah, and I'll put up his email address in a little bit. If you email him, I'll have him get that information to you from Vaughn, who kind of specializes in all these inspections for warranties and stuff. So, but yeah, so what about her question, towing vehicles? I mean, it's kind of
it's all going to depend on what you want. So like if you want say you want a fifth wheel, you're probably going to want a 3/4 ton. They do make half-ton towable fifth wheels. You can, if you want a normal travel trailer, you're probably going to be pretty good on a half-ton, as long as that tow capacity is right around 9,000, 10,000 pounds. Anything smaller than that, generally, SUVs might be able to take care of the smaller stuff, but it's all going to depend on what you're looking for. And we can help you with that. If you're kind of in between on what you want and you don't have a vehicle yet, we can help guide you in that direction.
Yeah, you want to make sure you get just have enough capacity to, calculate in the weight when you're pulling all of your, your food and all the stuff that you pack in there too. So you just don't want to be under capacity. So
right.
That'll be good. Thanks, Mycah. Yeah. There was a couple other questions. Jacqueline asked, do I get a discount for being an OSU graduate? So you saw that logo up there. That's kind of cool. Unless you're in Michigan, you probably don't think that's cool. But the reason that's cool is the owners of RV Wholesalers, spent several years building up quality and different levels to be able to be vetted by Ohio State to even be considered for it. So they're the first RV and dealership to ever get that ability and the opportunity to partner with Ohio State. So that's what that means. Jacqueline, I'll tell you what, I have something special. If you hang out with us to the very end and you're fast with your fingers on the keyboard, I have a way you can save some money. I don't think the Ohio State logo is going to help you much, but this other way will. So hang with us, and that goes for the rest of you too. And we will get going. So hidden fees. Number one, I'm going to actually take this list so you don't have to write all these down. I'm going to send this to you in the chat. There should be a little download coming up here right about now. So look for that in the chat. It's a one-page PDF free, of course, that you can download. And the reason that we like to help folks like this and give out this kind of information, even though it kind of goes against what most dealers would want us to share, is that the owners, they actually both were school teachers, high school school teachers, and for many years, 10 years at least, before they got into the RV industry 24 years ago. And so they just came to me. I'm not even on payroll at RV Wholesalers, but they came to me and said, hey, Tim, can you help us get the information out to folks? Like we obviously, like you, Mycah, working at RV Wholesalers. RV Wholesalers can only sell so many RVs, and there's going to be like 500,000 or 600,000 sold this year. It's like your little 5,000 or whatever it is a small portion of that. So it's like, how do we help everybody across the country, no matter where they buy from? And so that's our motivation here today, is just to get you as much information as we can so that you're not being taken advantage of. So number one, PDI. Can you explain what PDI is? And
so that is, as you see there, the pre-delivery inspection. That's where the shop usually goes through everything on the unit, make sure that everything's working properly. They clean the unit up for you, stuff like that. So
I heard yesterday they had 189 points on their checklist. I hadn't looked that closely. I know they're walking around with iPads and they're checking things off, taking pictures, and going up on top with a hose. And have you walked by got wet? Like, what the? Why is it raining? You look up, there's a guy with a hose going around the air conditioner and making sure that thing is not leaking, and the furnace turns on, and the toilet flush and all that kind of stuff. So it's definitely very important to have that done. It's kind of like the last wave of quality control, and from the factory after they do a road test, I call it. So everything is manufactured pretty much 95% RVs in Elkhart, Indiana, and the surrounding area there. Then they go on a little road trip, and we're going to talk about that transportation fees here in just a second, to you or to your dealership. And then that's when they do this PDI. So it's an important inspection because the factory pays the dealership, like RV Wholesalers. Say you ordered that Heritage Glen that Mycah was talking about. It shows up bouncing across the road for the first time. A piece of trim disconnects and is hanging down in there. And you don't want that, obviously. So that dealership will actually get paid to put that trim back up and screw it in. They missed it somehow, and bouncing across the road, it became an issue. So they'll fix it, no problem. The factory will actually give them money for warranty work, so the dealership is getting paid. So it's like, why should the dealership have to charge you for an inspection like that? I mean, you expect that. You expect the car that you buy to be brand new and working. Like everything works.
Yeah.
It's like,
and I've seen PDI fees after you sign being like $1,600.
I was going to ask you, that's
so it's some of them get out of this world crazy.
Yeah. So that one. That's why it's number one on here. It pops up a lot. I know there's one big chain that has 150 plus dealerships, and that one's always popping up there, right?
Yep.
So that one's very common. I don't think you should have to pay for that. They're getting paid to do that. It's like the factory's way of telling the dealership, hey, you're part of our inspection process. So they're making money. So they're double dipping basically.
Yep.
And so other things, transportation fees. This one's a little different in that, how much do you guys charge to get a new RV from the factory to your dealership?
So we charge $360, and I think it's right around 2.5 hours to the factories.
Yeah. So no matter where you are, so you guys that are out in California, whatever dealership in California is going to have to charge several $1,000s because to get it from Elkhart to California is a lot bigger run. And there's no like stacking 10 of these on a trailer and hauling them out. It's one by one they go, for the most part, maybe two if it's a real small, tiny trailer. But yeah, it's so there is money. What I'm saying is there's money that you have to account for that first transportation to the dealership. So that dealership is either going to put that into his price or have it separate. Like you just need to know, like, is that, so if I'm buying in California from this dealership, does that include the transportation out here? So if you're shopping in Ohio, okay, well, this is, I have to get it from Ohio to me when I buy it. So how much is that going to cost me? So it's say $3,000. And if you're getting a one out there in California, it's $10,000 extra. Okay, well, I can save $7,000, by having it shipped directly from a dealership in Ohio or wherever. So that's kind of, I just want you to be able to play apples to apples and understand what the different fees are. So that transportation fee is going to be worked in there. And the other, another little secret, make sure that you don't pay sales tax on the transport part of it, because that's several $1,000s, for example, that you shouldn't have to pay sales tax. So make sure they separate that out in your sales agreement, because you do not want to waste sales tax dollars, so.
Yep, yeah. That should be below the tax line.
Yeah, thank you. Environmental fees. Have you seen any weird fees like these? Environmental tire replacement fees. I'm not going to take time to dive into these much, but there's just some weird things. A lot of dealerships get creative. Yeah. Yeah. Route 66 was one I heard. So just watch and have them explain every little fee on the lines, and because you're going to ask for the out the door price. Like, I want to see out the door. I want to see my doc and title, which is number 5. That's a fee that's going to have to show up because of the state. Like Ohio, what's the Ohio fee?
Ohio is $295 doc and title.
Okay, so that's basically every state's going to be a little different. But if you see it like really high, then they're padding that. It shouldn't vary too much from that. Maybe $100 more or something based on states. But yeah, so there should be a fee for that. So that's a fee that, as long as you know about it, it's not hidden, right? And you're okay with it. So, so hopefully that helps you guys. A lot of good info there, man. So very cool. Let's move on. Some of you, I'm going to actually put up a poll, see how many. This will be your first time buying an RV. I know some of you probably have an RV, and if you have an RV already, a used one that you're thinking about selling and then buying a new one, and you don't want to make mistakes the second time, that's why you guys are here, right? And Micah, what's the best way to get the most for your trade-in so that people don't get burned?
The best bet right now would be to, we take trade-ins, but the best bet to make your most money and be happier in the end is going to be put it on Facebook, put it on Craigslist, RV Trader.
Yeah, like Facebook Marketplace, is that where?
Yeah. Okay. And you'll get a lot more money out of them that way, and they're going so quick right now.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, people, and don't focus on just your town either. People are traveling a ways for these things because, so list it in multiple areas. Don't just say your town.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the people are driving hours to go look at used RVs.
There's
honestly,
all sorts of Facebook groups on, you can go to, like a North Carolina, Virginia, all sorts of different Facebook groups. You can put it on there and, there'll be 15,000 people that see it. So it'll go quick.
Yeah. Oh, RV Trader. Did you say that one too, didn't you?
Yes.
Yep. That's another one. I mean, you pay a little bit, but it's not much compared to how much you can make when you sell one of these. And it's not as hard as you think. I mean, have your kids or grandkids help you if you don't feel comfortable taking pictures and posting them, but it doesn't take much. A few nice pictures, clean it up nice, and you'll be surprised how much you can get out of it. But that's the thing, is like, man, should I buy used? Should I buy new? I was camping back in actually just 2 weeks ago. The same couple was there at the campground, Chris and Christy, and they had their used trailer, and I was talking to them. And the last time in October we were camping, we brought a brand new it was a Wildwood FSX. Brought a brand new Wildwood, and it pretty much matched their same size, same kind of layout. And they were looking at this brand new one I had just pulled in from you guys, and they're like, "Oh, we paid. Let's see, they paid $16,000 for theirs 3 years ago, and it was 4 years old when they got it. So they bought a 4-year-old vehicle 3 years ago, paid $16,000 for it. They're like, how much is this new one? I was like, I felt bad because it was only $15,500. And it was brand new. And like they loved it. It was like got all the nice looking stuff. All the Bluetooth speakers and everything. And so used versus new right now. Honestly, like I'm seeing like sometimes the used prices are.
Yeah, they're up there.
So,
and I see Phil's question here. So, fun fact: I actually used to build RVs. Not too long ago. So they can only do so many per week. That's why lead times keep growing, because their orders keep getting filled up, and they can only build so many at a time. So they're not. I wouldn't say they're pushing them out. They're 150% production rate compared to normal. But they are maxing out what they can do. I wouldn't say that it's a huge decrease in the quality. It's just, it's
actually. To Phil's question too, I've probably been to 6 trips to Elkhart and that area, doing a little video shoots. I was at the RV Hall of Fame and different things, but I went into a whole bunch of the different factories, and it was cool. They let us in with the cameras and like, hey, make your videos, whatever you want to do. And I was impressed, actually. On this question about quality, I've been before COVID and I've been after COVID and during COVID, and I've seen, the big increase. And what I'm seeing, which I think is cool, is they have so many orders. So what they're doing is they're focusing. Before in the factory, I'd go in, they'd run 2 hours, and then they'd switch to a new floor plan, and then they'd have to make something different, and then they'd send that down the line, and then every 2 hours they'd change floor plans. I'm like, how in the world do they keep this stuff straight? Like, they've got to make mistakes. And so now what they're doing is they're running the same exact floor plan, so everything's the same for multiple days, just because the order volume is so big. So I honestly think that the quality is getting better because they're not switching all the time. They're
streamlining it.
Yeah. So I think in that standpoint, it's been good, been a good thing. Yeah. It's just, it takes longer now with the, shortages and all the different things. So, cool. Best time to get new models and best deals on Class C. Well, right now, I mean, if you order today, you're going to end up with a 2022 if it's pretty much right.
Yep.
The 2022 come out in July.
Yeah, so all the 2022s will come out in July. And then like the Class Cs, just to give you a time frame of kind of what you're looking at, you're probably looking about 6 to 7 months to get one. So if
big demand
for
those, yeah.
So they have, there's chip shortages and stuff like that at the factory that's slowing the production down a little bit. But as far as best time to buy, it's going to be, think 6 months from now. If you need it 6 months from now, you'll want to order it as soon as possible.
I'm putting up your contact information. Like if anyone has questions, like we were talking about used ones, if they want to figure out like the value, if you can help them out with that. I know you've got the big NADA books and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, any questions you have, I'll put this up again for Mycah at the end because we're not going to be able to get to everybody's questions. But Mary asked best fifth wheels. Do you have a favorite fifth wheel?
I mean, if price isn't really a problem, Redwoods, Columbus, and Heritage Glen, they make some real good product. It all kind of depends on what you're looking for in the price range, to be honest with you. There's good ones in the price ranges, and there's some not so good ones in the price ranges. So it all depends on where you're looking.
Yeah, and sometimes when I know, like the owners I've heard them say it a number of times, like they get wary of like when a fifth wheel manufacturer gets bought by a big group, because a lot of times those first few years are just about getting their investment dollars back, and so they'll see quality issues and things, and so they'll drop lines based on that. So if they go to your rvwholesalers.com website, you can kind of see the 50 different brands that you guys carry or whatever. Yeah, there's a good reason like how those are picked out. The owner actually, one of the owners sits in the service and warranty department, so he has a real good pulse. The last 2 years he's actually had his office up there, and he has a real good pulse on what has a lot of issues and stuff, so he pretty much knows. Number 3, not understanding terms on RV financing. And we've got a big one, a big secret coming up here in just a second too. I'm going to have you reveal what the big dealer financing secret is. But number 3, not understanding terms on RV financing. Do you want to talk just briefly about how RV loans work?
Yeah, so it's
in cars and that kind of thing.
Yeah, so it's all based on tiers, and it's an RV loan is considered a luxury loan. So interest rates are going to be a little bit higher on those than it would be for a house or a car loan. But you have a little bit more, it's all simple interest and stuff like that. But it's all based on tiers. So like 10,000 to 15,000 is going to be a 10-year, 15 to 24,999 is going to be a 12-year, 25 to 49 is 15, and then 50 and up, that's going to be a 20-year loan. So they're longer loans than what you're used to seeing.
So if it's longer, but the interesting thing is you have to be careful when you're comparing a long, simple interest loan compared to like a home equity or like a car, like something you'd get from your credit union where it's only a 7-year thing or a 5-year thing. So say that's a 3% and this is at 6%, you're actually going to be, if you pay off that same amount in that same amount of time that you would have like with a credit union, 5-6 years, you will actually be a lower interest rate. It's just, because you can, if you go with the longest term, you can actually get the lowest rate, especially if you're planning to pay it in the 5-year window or 6-year window. So it actually works pretty nice in your favor. Jack, a couple questions, and we're gonna talk a little bit more detail about financing and that big secret there. But Jacqueline asked about shows in January. It seems like, and I always thought this too. It's like, in fact, I even called David Durnell, the owner of RV Wholesalers, one of them, and I was at a RV show in Chicago, big one, boat and RV show. And I was like, David, why aren't you here? Why aren't you here? He's like, Tim, let me explain. Oh, yeah, we don't do shows anymore. And because I always thought, like, man, that's where you go to get the deal. Like, they're wheeling and dealing. Like, man, they just want to crank out hundreds of RV sales. And, like, man, that's the best place to get the deal. Then, so anyways, I got back. Owners explained to me, he's like, okay, so Tim, let me do the math for you. And he's like, what's a typical booth at a convention center? And I know this because I do some exhibiting. It's about $2,500 for a 10 by 10 little booth. Well, think about, okay, a trailer is like 3 times that, so 30 or 40 feet. So now you got a few $1,000s for booth space. Then you've got all the other things that go with that. So now you've got to get a whole staff up there. So you got your sales staff, you got overnight lodging, hotels, food for these guys. Then you've got the electricity and internet that you have to buy. And then you've got labor union fees because you're not allowed to move them into the thing. So you have to pay people to bring them into the location. Then you've got to do the transport fees to get them to the show. And then you've got to do the, it just keeps going and going.
Yeah.
By the time he said it's like 100 to 200,000 just to be at one show. It's like, so now they have to recoup that back. And he said that a number of shows they went to, and I don't know if this happens all the time, but the number of shows that they went to, they would always have a meeting before the show, and all the dealerships would say, okay, so how much, like the show's costing us this much, so we're going to have to set up these basically hidden fees, and they had a name for it. They'd call it the show whatever prep fee, or I don't know. They would all decide like, hey, we have to recoup this $200,000 investment, and we can do that on the back end so that we're all being, comparable on pricing so that, anyway, so shows really aren't the best way, because there's so much expense they have to mark them up or do things on the back end creatively. And that's why we started with hidden fees, because that's basically where it's going to happen.
Yeah. And especially
the price looks great, but
yeah, and especially if Jacqueline, if you're looking at like a Class C motor home, between now and January, that price could go up $15,000. So
right now
you might save $2,000 when you get there, but you're losing $13,000 between now and then. So it's kind of one of those things you weigh the pros and the cons of. So.
Yeah, so this is going to help you guys. I guarantee this will make it worth all the money you spent to get to this webinar. Not knowing the big dealer financing secret. So there is something, I had no idea this was happening. And this is going to help you even if you're buying a car, boat, anything, any kind of finance ticket item. So what's going on, Mycah, on the back end?
Yeah, so basically every time you finance anything from, whether it's a car, a boat, whatever, the bank gives the dealership that brought you to that bank to finance it, they actually write that dealership a check as like a way of saying thank you. So most places, that's part of their profit. They toss that in their pockets, and that's just more income for them. So it could be thousands.
Yeah, see, I heard about it and I was like, okay, yeah, a few $100s, but give me an example. Say someone buys a $100,000 Class A, I don't even know if you can get a Class A for that much, but a Class C motorhome, and like what kind of number are we talking about that the bank will give?
Say like a BT Cruiser Class C, for instance, you're going to have a $6,000 finance discount on that guy. Redwood fifth wheel, which typically they go for high 90s, low six figures. You're going to be at a $10,000 finance discount.
Okay, so basically you're saying that the bank is giving $10,000 or whatever, $6,000 to $10,000 to the dealership because you finance through them. So it's kind of like a commission, we could say, but the official term, what do they call it? Dealer reserve. So you have dealer reserve money that's being paid to the dealership from the bank because you finance with them. And we're going to get to Craig's question in just a second. So that money, like you said, it's just a way to make some profit. And that's how they can, that's So if you're going to finance, you kind of, so no matter what you're buying, after you work out your deal, get your best deal possible, and then say, okay, so how much, if I finance with you, how much of that dealer reserve money you're going to give back to me? That's what you need to ask, okay? So, and sometimes the salespeople don't even know that this is happening. You might have to talk to a finance manager or a manager. I know some of these car dealerships and different things, they don't even know that the bank has given them so much money for this. So yeah, it's just not a few $100s like I thought it was once I first heard about it. I didn't even know about it. I had no idea this was happening on the back end. I remember the owners of RV Wholesalers the first time. So they had built their business, had worked out all their budgets and all that, like how much profit they needed to make and all that, and went with this wholesale model. And I remember the first time them talking about the first time they got this check from the bank, like, what is this? It's like, and that's kind of, they're like, we already made our money. We made our profit. We paid our people and everything's good. And then this check shows up a month later for these reserves for these finance deals. And so they're just like, well, why don't we just give this back to the customer? And that's what you're talking about, a finance discount, right?
Yep.
Let's just give this back to the customer as a discount. So if they do finance, they don't have to finance with us. But if they do, we can give them this money right back to them. And everybody wins. So very cool. But like Craig, and there's a lot of people like this too that, have no desire to finance. You've worked hard, you've saved up money, you've sold a house, whatever your situation is, and you don't want to deal with wasting money on interest. There's kind of a way around this, right? Because that for the bank to get that deal, it's typically a 12-month requirement window. So you have to be financed for 12 months in order for the dealership to get this commission check or dealer reserve check from the bank. So the way to kind of play this game, if you do want to pay cash, is just make a big lump sum payment, very first payment. So sign up for the financing.
Yep.
Get the big discount, say the $6,000 or whatever. I mean, it'll be less if it's not that expensive of one, but say it's anywhere from $3,000 to $10,000. Get the discount, and so you pay that big lump sum. So let's just make it easy. Say it's $100,000. You pay $96,000, and then your minimum payment is you just make your minimum payment. Say it's $500 for 11 more payments, whatever that number is. 5 times 11. $5,500, whatever. And then, so you're basically only wasting about, I don't know, a few $100s on interest, $300, I don't know. You're throwing away basically $300 to get $10,000. I mean, like, hello, right. I'm not a math genius, but I know that that's worth the little effort, and then having that loan open just for that 12 months. Then you can pay that off. And also that's the other thing too. Like if you have your favorite credit union and you like that rate and you want to tie it to your house, which is probably not the best idea, because if anything were to happen and you don't have to lose 2 items, you could lose 1, but you can always pay off that loan in 12 months. You'll still have gotten the discount, and then you could refinance it under any other credit union, that kind of thing. So lots of options. Good question, Craig. Thanks. And man, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Thanks for sharing that. That's a huge little golden nugget there that a lot of people don't know about, and dealers definitely don't talk about. They don't want you asking those kind of questions. So that's pretty cool that you shared that. Thanks.
Yep, not a problem.
Service and wait times. Service is important. That's you're going to want to do your homework on service. Don't be afraid to ask questions, and throw out scenarios like, hey, if I bring this in here tomorrow and I need to get something fixed, what's that going to be like? What do they normally get with warranty from a factory? Like is that usually like a year? How much time do you get?
Yeah, so you're going to get like a 1-year limited manufacturer's warranty, which sounds great, but it's only anything built within the factory. So it's really only the shell. Like the lights that come from a different manufacturer, those aren't covered, or things like that. So it's pretty much just the side walls and things that they actually put together and build within the trailer facility. And then you got a 12-year roof, 10 to 15-year roof, depending on the model and the brand. And
then for the roofs, like you're going to want to plan to have someone or yourself just go up there and just recaulk it, and just do some annual maintenance, just to keep up. So you don't want water getting into your RV, and that's how you prevent that from happening. So you guys, I know you sell a lot of RVs in Ohio, but for the most part, you're selling nationally and even internationally. The big question I know a lot of people are having is like, okay, so I go to RVWholesalers.com, whatever, buy an RV from you guys. I live in California, and if it breaks down, if I bought it in California at my local dealer, which is kind of funny because your RV never really breaks in the town where you are. It's like when you're 3 states away, up in Washington looking at the Yellowstone or whatever, that's when it's going to break according to Murphy's Law, right? And it's like, okay, so how is my local dealer going to help me? I call him and he's like, okay, bring it in here and we'll get it in line here. We got 12 weeks, of people that have, that are ahead of you, but yeah, we'll get in, take a look at it, let you know. So it doesn't help you with your vacation. So you guys have what you call the Nationwide Service Network. Yep. And explain how that works.
Yeah, so basically we got people that we've done business with over the last 24 years that we've been here. We've got 2,500 plus service centers and growing all the time. Basically, say you're from California and you're camping in Colorado, water heater goes out. What you would do is you just give us a call, speak with our advocacy department, warranty department, and give them where you're located at. They would find the closest service center to you. They would do all the legwork for you, get you scheduled, fixed up, and get you camping. That way you're not wasting 12 weeks, or you don't have to drive all the way back to Cali to get it fixed.
Yeah, and sometimes that's even like a mobile service center that'll come right to your campground if possible, and swap out the air conditioner or whatever. It's like it's pretty nice. That's huge because service is a real important thing. It's not like if this thing's going to break down at some point. It's especially if you have it for 5 or 10 years. I mean, it's just win. It's because it's a house you're driving across the road, beating it up, and if you've seen the roads, at least in Ohio and Michigan, you'll see why. That's why I threw up this last one. I wasn't planning on talking about this, but number 6, buying a service agreement that doesn't cover much. That's the one time I don't know if your dad taught you, like, hey, just when you walk through Walmart, like, say no when they ask you, like, do you want to buy the warranty? Yep. That's how I was brought up. It's like, don't throw your money away on those warranty things. But a little different when you're talking about a motorhome or a travel trailer that's going bouncing around. So, I do think it's a great idea after I've been driving them around the last year with my family, and I'm a big fan of these. But you got to get the right one, and that's the important part. There's basically 2 ways. There's 2 types: stated and exclusionary. Stated, well, you'll get a contract. It'll come in a nice little binder, like this little folder kind of thing, and you open that thing up, and there's a lot of pages to it. But basically, there's one page that says stated. These are the stated things that we cover. We cover these items here. And if you don't see it on the list, it's not covered. A lot of times, these things that are on the list, if they're affected by something that's not covered and it ruins them, say a power inverter goes bad and it ruins your refrigerator. The refrigerator was covered, but now it's not because it was ruined by something that wasn't covered. So there's a lot of loopholes, basically, is what I'm saying. So if you kind of flip that around, turn it upside down, then you have the exclusionary one, which everything listed is it's excluding these items. So everything's covered, excluding these items. So the whole thing's covered. It's the opposite, except for these brake pads. You have to basically replace your own brake pads and pay for that. Those aren't covered under warranty. Wear and tear kind of stuff. So anything that's wear and tear related, those are usually excluded, and it's a small list. It's just a small list of these items are excluded, as opposed to these are the only items that are covered. So that's, if you want something that really pays the bills when it comes down to it, that's the type you want to ask for, exclusionary. Brands, there's a lot of different dealers carry different ones. I know pretty popular in dealers is this one, this protective one. I know you guys carry this one too.
Yeah.
That one, I've actually seen the reports, and it really does pay the bill. In fact, here's a report from one of the months. These are all claims that were paid out, thousands of dollars. I like to look at these. The guy that heads up the connection to the warranty service shows me these sometimes. And I mean, every day, like there's people, flight out room, this much, like all these different prices. I see how much claim money they paid out, and it's kind of fascinating, but I know they're paying them because I see the report.
And it's I actually just had that question today regarding warranties and service agreements and stuff like that. You just want to make sure that if you have to meet, show up once a year to get something serviced, you want to avoid that, because it's gonna, if they can't get you in for 12 weeks and you buy on July 1st and you can't get in until July 5th, well, now your warranty's null and void. You're not going to be able to have any warranty at that point, because you're past your 1 year check-in. So
I didn't think about
small
that.
Questions like that you got to ask when you're dealing with that stuff. And our guys, our warranty department, they do that stuff great. So
I will never forget, there was a third type called this Warranty Forever. And I'll never forget, I was at a dealer only RV show, basically only allowed in there if you're a dealer. And so a guy from this Warranty Forever, or whatever they call it, Forever Warranty, Lifetime Warranty, I don't know. He comes up, he's like, hey, you're going to want this for your dealership, because you're going to average $900 per year per customer that you give this to. So you give them this warranty, they think it's great. But here's the catch for them. For the customer, they have to bring it in every single year by this date, or the whole thing's void and null and void. And he said, but when they come in, they have to do, the annual maintenance on the roof and all this stuff. And then, and so you get that money, and then you always find other stuff. So on average, we're seeing every dealer across the country that uses our program, they get about $900 more per customer per year. I was like, my little BS detectors went up. Like, we're not doing that to our customers.
It's not good for customer service.
Yeah, it's terrible. And then they try to sell you a regular warranty, like a service contract, like what we were talking about. On top of that, I was like, okay, if you're giving me a warranty for life, why do I need anything else?
Right. You're going to buy 2 warranties, and one of them's not going to be any good. So you're paying for the one that actually is. And
good stuff, man. Appreciate your time. Here's your contact information. Don't spell his name like this, though, because I just spelled it wrong. It's with a Y. But Micah, I appreciate you taking time. The folks that hung out with us the whole time, here's what I'm going to do. If you take a picture of this screen right here with your camera or a screenshot, and you email this to mgrandstaff@rvwholesalers.com, the first 2 people, and those that are like really ready to buy an RV, this will help you. But Micah is going to be able to, and Mike, I asked Mike Durnell about this, so I didn't just make this up. You can give them $500 discount on delivery. So no matter where in the country they need to get this thing delivered to their backyard, you can get it there for $500 less than what it would normally cost. So just email Micah, just put in the subject like 500, or put that in there somewhere. Send him a screenshot of this or a picture of this, and he will make sure you get that deal if that's if you're at that point. And we have a big RV show coming up in about 2 weeks that I'm hosting for you guys. It's gonna be really fun. It's shot at a campground. We're gonna have about 25 RVs. It's gonna be a good time. That's at virtualrvshow.com. I'll type that in for you guys. virtualrvshow.com. You can register for free, but the reason I'm telling you is because we do tons of giveaways, and we're giving away like solar panels and charging battery pack systems, so you can go remote. You can we have all kinds of prizes that day. Like every hour we're giving away stuff. So and it's a good time. We have a magician, a band, like all kinds of stuff. So come hang out with us on the 26th of May for some great deals and some fun stuff there. And just tell us, as you're saying bye here in the chat, tell us what your plan is to do with your RV. I'd love to hear like how you're gonna plan to, like what you want to do, like whether it's go see Mount Rushmore, which is like on my bucket list. Yeah, tell me what's on your bucket list with your RV once you get it. Can't wait for you guys to get to go camping. So
it looks like Phil got his email in here, so we got one more spot left. So,
oh, you already got an email? Nice.
Yep. Phil Walt sent me one, so we'll talk, Phil. And
so Phil asked, can we sign up to get notified of virtual RV show? Yeah, if you just go to this link I just put in there, the virtual RV show, there'll be a registration form. So sign up for that, and then you'll get links and everything as it gets closer. Paula, that's cool. Travel the country with your daughter. That's awesome. Memory, like those are the memories. Like I'm sorry, but you can't put a price to that kind of thing. It's like, so very cool. Thank you guys. It's been fun. Thanks, Mycah. And here's the big thank you screen. See, that's where I want to go right there. I have not done that. I had to buy that image from stock photo because I haven't been there yet, but someday. All right, Mycah, appreciate you. Have a great day. Thanks for giving up your busy afternoon to help us.
Yeah.
So take care.
Not a problem. Thank you.
All right.
You too.
Bye, guys. Lots of Colorado camping for Phil.